I'm sure you're as thrilled as I am to hear the announcement of a successful COVID vaccine. While there's still a lot of work to make it a reality, we can at least now hope for an end to this very difficult time. If so, that is surely a modern-day miracle. Many of the world's best scientists have been looking for decades for an antidote to the common cold, with no real success. There are 6 other coronaviruses that affect humans, and we've not found a cure for any of the others. And the science behind the leading vaccine programs is so new that if COVID had struck just 5 or 10 years ago, we'd have been completely stuck. Praise God for his mercy. There is, though, a very different narrative. All hail human ingenuity. There's nothing we can't do when we put our minds to it. This isn't God's work, it's mankind's work. If it had been God, why didn't he intervene sooner and save thousands more lives? A miracle from God or mankind's genius? Which do you think? Well, it's not a mutually exclusive choice. I think it's both. Great things happen when men focus their efforts on endeavours that are in line with God's loving purposes. God could have done it all himself. He could have sent the Archangel Gabriel to London or New York, or more likely a third world slum, with a chemical formula written in golden letters on a pure white scroll. It's just not his way. God doesn't impose himself on mankind. He works with mankind, or sometimes, sadly, despite mankind. Even in the golden age of miracles, the time of Jesus' ministry, many of them were done with human input. The 5,000 were fed from bread and fish initially provided by the crowd. The paralytic was healed only after his friends lowered him through the roof. And those whom Jesus healed contributed their faith in him. Of course God can do it all himself. He made the universe without any human input. But in Genesis 3, God gave his wonderful, beautiful world to us, to make of it what we would. And sometimes the results are pretty messy. But great things happen when men focus their efforts on endeavours that are in line with God's loving purposes. So let's make sure that in our lives and our prayers, we are putting all our energy into endeavours like that. And specifically, please pray for all those who continue to develop vaccines, to test them, to refine them, to manufacture them, to distribute them. It's a huge task. There is still so much to be done. But this is an endeavour that is in line with God's loving purposes. So yes, let's hail the brilliance of our fellow men. But let's also thank God for his miraculous blessings. How wonderful it is when mankind works in harmony with God.